What's going on, boys? Thanks to our patrons and our Fiverr customers, arm yourselves, life stuff. 3 topics today, not as fleshed out as usual, but I think they're connected. And we'll start with a side thing. I very much dislike people who have concept names, like Joy or Hunter, because now I can't use those words without the chance of remembering those people exist. So please, for the love of God, give your children either normal names or really weird names. Things that can be identified only as names. Now, the first topic is thinking again about law enforcement and the way it destroys basic, important values in populations. Because earlier I was annoyed thinking about how difficult communication is when everyone is always lying. I've reached the point, unless I can see someone doing an action or I can see evidence of an action, I trust nothing they say about anything. All you can judge people on is by what you see them do. And it's frustrating because language, it's the fastest, easiest, most effective way to communicate complex ideas or chains of events. And we've ruined it with everyone lying all the time for no reason about fucking nothing. And while I'm thinking about this, I'm a liar too now, and I hate it. I was raised on the idea honesty and your word is the most important thing in the world. And while I still believe in keeping my word, even though I shouldn't, I've learned the importance and the necessity of lying. And I learned that, ironically, by being honest with law enforcement. Now, I probably would have needed to learn the lying lesson eventually, but in an ideal world, well, in an ideal world, you wouldn't need to lie. But in a better way, there would be a gradient through which you come to understand the importance of lying. In my experience, honesty almost destroyed my life. And I'm still feeling the effects of it. I'll always feel the effects of it. You can't always tell when someone knows you have a record, but you can notice things. We've talked about it 100 times, but if a job asks you to disclose your criminal history, and you are honest and disclose it, you'll start to notice none of those jobs ever get back with you on anything. I wanted to be a professor. Now, by the grace of God, fortunately, I think I would make a bad professor, so I lucked out there, but I don't have the option of being one. Nothing officially says I can't, but in these, applying to education positions is different from applying to normal jobs. All of them are going to ask you about your criminal history, and I haven't even gotten responses from jobs that I am far and away equipped to do, and I know you aren't filling this position. But what happens when you are honest with law enforcement? They disable their recording devices, they take the narrative you provide them, remove anything that would put things in context, or make your case prove that what they're claiming you did isn't what's going on. They remove all that completely, keep only things that look or sound bad, and then the most frustrating part is adding things of their own. Taking things you say that could be incriminating and then putting damning little embellishments on them. And because there are no recordings, conveniently, it is your word against the officers. And this is another thing we've talked about 100 times before, but I haven't thought about it, or at least I think I haven't thought about it, from the morality perspective before. Because when the justice system acts this way, what are they communicating to you, the citizen? The outcome, well, there are a bunch of outcomes, we might get into those. This one here is don't be honest. Don't speak. What I've learned is never say anything to the cops about anything ever. Because they want to get somebody. And if you open your mouth, you give them words to edit. So, what our institutions are teaching people is don't be honest. Because you are punishing people for being honest. That sort of dishonesty creates more dishonesty, especially when that level and that severity of dishonesty is coming from the state. It's not just telling a little lie, it is lying and killing people or ruining them, crippling them for life. And you can talk about these things. You can even have evidence of them. You can even have direct video and audio of law enforcement doing these things. But even if you see it, for some reason, you don't care until you feel it, personally. Now, fortunately and unfortunately, probably more unfortunately, but it wouldn't happen any other way, is cops are getting a bit more gung-ho, even more than before it seems, because it's hard to find people these days who, if they haven't had something happen to them directly, which probably they haven't, they probably know someone or know someone who knows someone who has had one of these experiences, and the ripples touch them, even if they aren't touched directly, and awareness is getting around, but still nothing is being done. But the main point for us here is that morality thing. One day I'd like to go through my entire case, piece by piece, but we'll wait until I am wealthy and famous enough to feel safe doing that. The fact our institutions engage in and push that severe of dishonesty at the street level. Now, the second thing I was thinking about today was open carry versus concealed carry. I saw a Hickok 45 video on it, but you don't need to see it if you're in gun communities. This is something people talk about regularly, and it always confuses me. Well, no, it doesn't just confuse me, it gets me angry. People shitting on open carry, saying there is no reason to do it, and you shouldn't do it. They start with the concealed carry gives you a tactical advantage, the element of surprise. You aren't going to get targeted first. If you give them the reason you would prefer to be targeted first, they move into the next stage. Open carry makes people uncomfortable and therefore makes gun control laws more likely. If you give them a hearty, shall not be infringed, or do you think they're going to stop at banning open carry? They won't. They're coming for your precious concealed carry next. It's a death by 1,000 cuts, you fucking subhumans. How have you not figured this out? Then they move into people who open carry are assholes. You're insecure, you're compensating. Congratulations, no offense women, you're in woman territory. You want to ban something because you don't like your idea of a person who does a thing's attitude. And they always make little provisions like you should be able to open carry in the woods or in the wilderness. What qualifies as wilderness? Do you think they're going to allow you to open carry on public land, government land? Do dreadlocks, white bitches who hike not get uncomfortable with open carry? But you see here, concealed carry or open carry isn't specifically what's bothering me. It's this divide and conquer shit people are happy to do to themselves. If a person wants to open carry, they've accepted that they'll be targeted first, or it draws attention to you. They've accepted they want to exercise this right they possess, and they've even accepted they are assholes who are insecure and are compensating. Their decision to exercise that right is theirs. And when you attack people to get their ability to decide taken from them, it's going to happen to you too. In fact, the more you cower, the more likely you are to bring it on yourself. You're signaling to the state you are a pushover. When I was dealing with my legal situation, I was thinking about the way people who do really fucked up stuff get off with nothing. How and why does that happen? Or why do you step on someone's throat who is clearly not a threat? Well, it's for that exact reason. You are not a threat. They can get away with doing it to you because you won't do anything. So you, a fucking FUD, Mr. Only Bad Guys Have Something to Hide, you're gonna cheer when people who exercise their freedoms get shot or get imprisoned or at minimum get their rights taken away, and then you're gonna cry when it happens to you. Who are you gonna blame? You're not gonna blame yourself. No, that would be a little too difficult. You're going to do exactly what you did here, except in a nice and castrated manner. You're going to find another person to bitch and moan about, and then you're going to die and leave your children a worse world. And I was really steamed about this earlier. Because again, this is not... or what's happening here is not limited to this one point. This seems like something humans just do. Example from a couple years ago. In a community as small as the size community, there are a bunch of tags. Tons of tags to enjoy. And maybe it's something psychological. Psychological pottery. One of the tags is gentle. And the gentle crowd... gentle, not gentile. The gentle crowd went to war on all other tags, particularly tags they deemed cruel, while acting like victims. But it's porn. This is pornography. There's plenty for everyone to enjoy. And ironically, gentle is still one of the most popular tags, entry tags. But they aren't satisfied until they have harassed certain artists into stopping working altogether and administrating and shaming not their tastes. When nothing was wrong. Everyone was happy. And now, by starting shit for no reason, you have fractured a community and lowered the quality of what's being produced within that community. Is this just something humans do? It's not enough to have your own preferences. You must impose them on other people. And then do mental gymnastics when other people impose on you. Right now it's not just playing the victim, now you are being victimized. I don't know. That's really frustrating. And normally, politics like that in the first place is something that I would not get involved with. Because the real battle isn't happening in the state. It's not happening with votes. The real battle is already lost. The entire reason we're thinking about this at all, instead of buying a lot of ammunition, maybe killing and consuming a hiker or two, is we are trying to find things to distract ourselves with. Concepts or little struggles that will keep you nice and far away from actual truth-seeking. Because truth-seeking makes you dead when you chase it hard enough. So what this carry thing is, although I do care about it, is ultimately a distraction. It's something that I can think and be angry about within reasonable parameters. Because if you were truth-seeking and got angry and thinky, those go beyond reasonable parameters or human parameters and then you die. With politics, even if it's the smallest echo chamber, at least you have some people who agree with you. Or that you can feel you agree with or feel part of or feel some sort of camaraderie with. In truth, there is no camaraderie. There is no connection. There's no alignment. And that got me thinking about these concepts. Not specific concepts, but things to believe in. I think things you can or want to believe in are like little symbiotic gods. And on this channel, we are already familiar with the idea of gods and mortals not being hierarchical but more symbiotic. That, but diffuse. Because you absolutely can kill ideas. Ideas are as mortal as you are. In fact, they might even be weaker than you are because they can't spread themselves and they can't fight for themselves. You need an idea to believe in, and an idea needs someone to fight on its behalf. Maybe we are constantly undergoing little jihads. You and your ideas are in a little symbiotic passion, distracting each other, trying not to think about truth until you can't, until it gets you. Truth is a boogeyman, comes for us all. I'm not going anywhere with this other than cherish your ideas. Ideas are like people. Go out, meet them, find the ones you like, spend time with them, get to know them, grow old with them. Enjoy them, enjoy yourself, and your shared passions while you can, because truth will come for you. Like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you haven't.